universidades perderam fundos
Universities
por
no
não
longer
alinharem com
have
orientações
funds because
políticas,
they are not in
agências
line
científicas
with
foram
political
silenciadas.
guidelines and
Questões. O alinhamento
agencies
estratégico
have
com o
been
poder político de
taken
ocasião
out.
passará a ser norma entre
Will
o
this
meio
become a
científico e
norm
académico e
in the
a Europa
scientific academic
vai ou não, poderá
world?
ou não tirar
And
partido do que
Europe
está
may
a
or
acontecer
not
neste
take
momento
advantage
nos
of
Estados
what's
Unidos.
happening
Estão
currently in
connosco
the US.
Francisco
We have with
Veloso,
us
que é
Francisco
reitor
Veloso,
da
the
INSEAD, uma
Dean
das
of
escolas de
INSEAD,
gestão e negócios
one
mais
of the
prestigiadas do mundo.
management
Está neste
schools
congresso
with
através
most
de videochamada
prestige in the
e a
world.
partir de
Is
França.
joining
Bem-vindo.
us from
E aqui
France
no auditório
remotely.
o professor
And
emérito da
here we
Universidade
have
do Porto
Professor
e diretor do Instituto de
Emeritus
Engenharia,
Professor
Sistemas e
of the
Computadores de
University of Porto and
Tecnologia e
Director of
Ciência,
Inesc
José Manuel
Tech,
Mendonça.
José Manuel
Bem-vindo também.
Mendonça.
É um
Welcome.
gosto poder tê-los aqui neste
a pleasure
congresso e com um
to
tema
have you
tão
here
atual.
discussing
Antes
such
de
a
mais, e tendo aqui
topical
connosco um
theme.
professor universitário
We
emérito
have
e diretor do
an
Instituto,
emeritus
como é
professor
que
with
têm
us.
acompanhado e como é possível,
Let
professor,
me ask you
como é que
first,
têm acompanhado
how
esta
have you been
ameaça
following this
norte-americana
North American
de financiamentos
threat
cortados,
of
subsídios bloqueados?
stopping financing
com preocupação,
and
como é evidente.
suspending
Obrigado pela oportunidade já
subsidies.
agora em estar aqui a
Thank
debater
you
este
for
tema que
this
é muitíssimo
opportunity to
importante.
discuss this
Com
topic that is
preocupação, com
extremely important.
esperança
I
que não
am
contamine
concerned and
e
I
que
hope
não
that
se
this
dissemine,
will not
mas também com bocadinho de
ripple
pragmatismo. Isto já não é
throughout.
novo.
But
A
this
interferência
is
do
not
poder
something
político, e se
new,
quisermos
the
religioso
meddling
na
of
ciência,
political
é algo
power
da história.
and
O
religious
Giordano
power in
Bruno morreu na
sciences,
fogueira
part of
e o
our
Galileu teve que se
history.
retratar
Galileo
por
had
causa
to
da teoria
take
heliocêntrica,
his
geocêntrica,
theory
pronto.
back.
Mais tarde o Oppenheimer
And Oppenheimer
colaborou no
later
projeto
on
Manhattan, no fabrico da bomba atómica, mas foi vítima da
participated
caça
in
às
the
bruxas
Manhattan
pelo
Project,
governo
but he
americano de
was
então. Portanto,
a victim of the
poder político,
witch hunting by the American
Mas na era
government.
contemporânea,
But in the
era contemporânea, é a primeira
contemporary
vez.
period,
De facto,
well,
a
it's the
aliança
first time.
entre
In fact, this
ciência
alliance
e
between
negócio
science
sempre foi muito
and the
poderosa,
business world
sobretudo
has always
a
been
partir
very
do século
powerful, above
XVII,
all as
XVIII,
of
as
the
revoluções industriais,
17th, 18th century,
Watt,
with
Edison,
the
Watt com os industriais que o
industrial
apoiaram, etc,
revolutions,
etc. Foi sempre
Watt,
inventor,
Edison.
ciência,
It was always the inventor,
tecnologia,
science,
negócio,
technology,
explosão,
business,
ruptura. Portanto, as
the
duas
boom
revoluções industriais
and the
mostram isso.
rupture.
Portanto, também há
And
uma
the
aliança
two
entre a ciência
industrial
e a
revolutions
economia.
show this.
O
There's
problema
also an alliance
contemporâneo,
between
quanto a
science
mim,
and
é
the
o facto
economy.
de que
The
os
contemporary
cientistas,
problem is the
os
fact that
inventores,
scientists,
criativos,
inventors, creative
e
people,
muitos empresários
and many
são
businessmen
pessoas
are
liberais.
liberal.
São pessoas liberais. Se virmos a história, a partir
If
desse
we
século
look back in
XVII,
history, since
todos
the
os
17th,
grandes
18th century,
cientistas e inventores são
great
pessoas liberais, são
scientists,
pessoas
inventors are
em termos
liberals,
políticos abertos a novas ideias, etc.
and they are pro new
humanistas.
ideas. And we're
E
talking also
como
about
Harari
humanists.
dizia, o humanismo liberal
The
está sob
liberal
fogo,
humanist is under
neste momento da administração
heavy
americana,
fire by
porque a
the
administração tem receio
American administration
e a
because
ciência
there's a fear,
desmente
and
ou não é
science
conveniente
denies, or
para
science
determinadas
is not
narrativas,
convenient for certain
da
narratives of
o
the
Mariano Gago,
current
penso que todos consideram
management.
uma espécie
Mariano
de pai da ciência em
Gago
Portugal, no
is
mundo
considered
moderno.
the father of science in
Colocou a
Portugal,
ciência na agenda
and
política,
he
na agenda
included
mediática, e
science
convenceu
in the
três
political
primeiros
agenda,
ministros
media
a
agenda, and he
começar a
persuaded
financiar a
three
sede da
prime
ciência.
ministers
Antes
to
disso, há um período
finance
antes de Mariano
science
Gago
before
e da
Mariano
professora depois de Mariano
Gago.
Gago.
There's a
É
period
inquestionável. Disse uma vez em
whereby
2021
Mariano Gago said in 2021 that
para uns alunos, para uns jovens, a ciência é um campo de
to
batalha.
young people, to
ciência não é
students, he
neutra.
said the
Isso
science
torna
is a
interessante.
battlefield. Science is not
Pode-se
neutral.
escolher
That's why it is
entre a
interesting.
ganância e
You
a
can
generosidade,
choose
entre a
between
paz
greed and
e a
generosity,
guerra,
peace and
e
war,
entre a verdade ou a
and
mentira.
truth or
O problema da
lies.
ciência,
And
dos cientistas
the problem of
verdadeiros,
science
nos
and
ajudarem a
of true
distinguir a verdade da
scientists that
mentira,
help us
incomoda os
distinguish the truth from
Certo.
lies is
esse
not
incómodo,
liked by
essa
politicians.
preocupação
And this
que há
concern
pouco dizia,
that you
está,
expressed
a acompanhar, é uma preocupação apenas à
is
distância?
remote concern with a certain distance. What I would like to ask you is, do you fear that this happens outside the US? I think it's a remote concern, and it can also be an opportunity, as you well said, but we will jump into that later on. Europe is a Europe of diversity, 27 states deciding with which color we should paint the ceiling, regulations at European level that may or may not be adopted. And you have different flavors of their respective adoption in the different member states, and this sometimes raises issues. So the US is made of federate states. Well, let me give you an example. The blackout, the recent blackout, this is an engineering problem, a science problem, a system that is very complex. Most people don't understand the complexity of the system. You need to know physics. But the thing was that the French did not adopt the European recommendations, because they decided this was best. And France, to protect its nuclear industry from the competition of renewables, and Spain, that was negligent. But the reports will say this. This means that Europe recommends, but then each state acts differently. So in a heterogeneous world such as Europe, this will not be a generalized risk. And if the Hungary decides to do something, it will be bad for them. Tant pis en français. Well, we're not talking about Hungary. No one knows what's coming in their case. Francisco Veloso, again, welcome. Can you share with us your own vision and how you've been following what's happening in the US? There's a Trump administration with a very determined attitude regarding what it wants for science, and clearly there's the political interference in the scientific and academic world. Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate in the APDC Congress. Just like José Manuel, my first reaction is a reaction of concern vis-à-vis the American institutions and also the attitude vis-à-vis science. And there's also a concern with this growing politicization of science, which was also mentioned by José Manuel before me. So my first instinct was to try and find ways to help if possible, because there's this concern about mobility, what will happen to students, to professors. So our first reaction here at the INSEAD was, when possible and when we can help, we should do so. Secondly, we need to see the relevance of scientific research, and this is a talented community, and this is also very important for the competitiveness of countries, the competitiveness of regions, and that's why we were concerned. After having said this, of course, the other side that has been mentioned, which is pragmatism, is also important, and we, outside the US, we may help to the extent possible, and I believe this is logical, but there are aspects we do not control. So we must see what we can do in this context also to reinforce our own competitiveness at the European level or with the institutions. But I would like to highlight two different dimensions. I believe this is important. On one hand, we have the more political dimension and more complex regarding the attitude vis-à-vis science and the mobility of talent. The other side is the cuts that have been made in the US impacting science, and this is significant. But notwithstanding that, this is a small part of the difference that exists between the US and Europe regarding the investment made in science. So it's worthwhile bearing this in mind. There's a big gap, a significant gap between the level of investment made in Europe in science and what is done in the US. Even with all the cuts that have been announced, we're talking about 0.1% of the GDP. This is an estimate that I tried to find just to give you a notion of the magnitude of these cuts. It's not a very accurate number, but just to give you a notion of what we're discussing and the difference of investment between Europe and the US regarding the investment in R&D is 0.8% of the GDP, around 0.8. Europe invests 0.2% of the GDP in R&D, and the cuts that have been announced, if it's 0.1% of the GDP, there's still a significant difference. And I believe this context is important because there's an objective part. The more political part is a concern about the attitudes and the role of science to help in innovation and the scientific advancement of countries and regions. Professor, in the case of Europe, academic institutions, scientific institutions, are they not politicized, bearing in mind the current political context that we see in some member states? A while ago, we mentioned Hungary. I gave the example of Hungary, not because I truly know in detail what is happening, but I believe in Hungary there's symptoms of a problem like that. I mentioned it because I'm talking about more autocratic governments and their discomfort about scientific truths. And this in various areas. And in specific scientific fields, everything related with immunology, pandemics, politically, it's not believed that this is relevant, then you can cut the funding. Climate change, if they're not very relevant, or if we believe it's silly, you cut the funding. So these cuts, or University A or B, if University A has many Democrats, so there's a finger pointing, there's a focus, so the cuts are not blind. And maybe in other technological areas such as AI, quantum computing, military use, the sovereignty of states, etc., 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 there are no cuts. So when we're talking about cutting of funding, it's public funding, and it was also mentioned here, the gap between the US and Europe, and this difference of 0.8% is related with the investment of the industry, because in advanced countries, 2/3 of the investment made in science is private investment and 1/3 is public. In Portugal now the private sector is doing more investment than the public sector, but for a long time this was not the case. So the more advanced countries in the private sector invests more in science, and businesses do what they need, as Edward Teller said, and it was also linked to the Manhattan Project. Science of today is the technology of tomorrow. So companies are not waiting to be told where they should invest. I don't see in Europe that, but I see some expectation vis-à-vis something that is complex. In the case of Portugal, that is to attract unhappy American scientists. One of these days I read a study, and this was not about scientists, it was American graduate students, and Portugal is among the 11 preferred countries by Americans, young graduates, because we're a safe country. country.
Lisboa, Porto,
Our
etc.,
cities, Lisbon and Porto, have been at the top of where you can have the best quality of life, and we have a soft power. We are among the 50 countries with the best soft power, with the best image. But regarding what is truly relevant, what about the European scientific basis? And if you like to talk about the national situation, how is this consolidated so that these researchers, scientists, and academics are willing to come to Portugal?
The Draghi report later and Manuel Leito's report on the research frameworks state that Europe wants a middle tech trap, that is a middle trap that is for the mobile industry and so on, and it no longer invests in tip tech, more advanced, more disruptive. Now, Europe would harness, would attract first-line American investment and all European countries, but for such you need programs, levels of financing that attract these people that are first-line scientists that are used to grants, receiving millions, grants of millions. A scientist, a top scientist in Portugal can win 500,000, 1 million euros can obtain because of research. There are scientists receiving $10, $50 million, more laboratories with more labs and more teams, members of, and more teams. Europe has to be on that side, that is the international partnerships with American universities. This partnerships, which has lasted for more than 20 years, has created a relationship with MIT, Austin, and other Ivy League universities, space industry, and so on, shows that even in Portugal we do have that potential, and they collaborate. These universities collaborate with us because they see that we have talent and people to develop, that can develop science and that can publish, jointly publish. There are potentials, but Portugal has limitations. There are European countries. Francisco mentioned a while ago that 2.2 GDP was invested in science, but there are European countries that invest even more than the States, like the Nordic countries, and it's not by chance that they invest 3.4, 3.5 GDPs, more than the States of their GDP. And let's listen to Francisco Veloso's opinion. How can Europe position itself in this threshold? Does it have the conditions to do so and receive these brains, let's call it as such? And let me say that the basic conditions would have to be developed so that there be an impact. They would have to significantly be developed around these movements happening in the States. And as Emanuel mentioned, the reason, three levels of investment, despite the variability that exists between countries. Europe as a whole doesn't sufficiently invest in R&D. There is a need to increase and in reality to move on to a commitment which is 3% by 2030. So it would be important to accelerate that movement. And this is one of the aspects which is necessary conditions to be able to benefit more from these events that are taking place in the States, in the US. The states' attention are geared towards other sectors, for instance, for specific sectors, yes, but they're not incompatible. So the other part has to do with institutions. The problem is that we don't have a system, a research university system, with the level of competitiveness which would be desirable in Europe. Most of our system is public, and it's not only being public, but inside the public, it doesn't allow much variability, diversity at the level of our universities in the public sector. Let me recall that if we looked at the university rank, we have 27 in the top 100. It depends on the ranking. We have 5 more than in the UK and China and Japan have 10. So in our science design, high-end universities, cutting-edge, that is, universities that Zemanel mentioned, there has to be an important development, an important investment, a greater capacity for Europe to accept diversity of levels of excellence, of financing of the university system. An important part of that aspect relates to taking risks, assuming risks, and there being programs allowing to take risky investments in technology applications with greater determination. In the States, we speak about R&D, an important aspect of linked to HARPA, DARPA, to defense and energy, enabling a rapid, efficient investment, which after has an economic application, but from the defense viewpoint, very significant. There's an investment in defense, that is what is linked to R&D, and there don't need to be separate. These aspects can be strengthened, and a very significant investment at a public level via defense associated to science and technology. This more decisive investment in terms of the risk, apart on energy and defense, this can be a very interesting opportunity for Europe to move forward in this capacity to mobilize excellence. And this is something that also is mentioned in Manuel Leitor's report, the report he drafted on the community framework, opportunities existing regarding the dual-use technologies that can be used for applications which are more military or more civilian. This can be important. And the UK itself is doing that type of investment. The UK created a new agency called AREA 2-3 years ago, so that there would be quick investment and more focused on areas with specific impacts, economic and so on. So there is an opportunity for Europe to not only speak about the fact that we're secure that it would be important to invest in Europe by the Americans, but there are programs, new initiatives, new programs, incentives, allowing Europe to make an important leap in its ability to innovate and develop new technology and new technological companies.
We have here some examples. Since 2006, Portugal has collaboration programs, as Manuel Mendonça said, with universities in the whole world, MIT, Carnegie Mellon, and the Austin University. Which has been the impact of these partnerships in the national scientific system? Well, I'm biased because I followed all these programs. I participated in some of them. I'm still the PI of one of them, so the impact for me was very high. And I think that the main political idea underlying this decision was the following. At the time, Mariano Gago,
os cientistas portugueses movem-se bem na Europa, consórcios, projetos de
there are
cooperação,
consortiums in
bolsas,
Europe.
doutoramentos, etc. Há aqui uma amarração muito forte.
There are projects, scholarships.
Mas os Estados Unidos são líderes científicos mundiais, não é?
But
Agora
the
são menos,
US, they are leaders
do que eram na altura,
in
mas há 20
science.
anos eram indiscutivelmente
Now more, but 20 years
muito
ago,
longe.
they were the leaders, undoubtedly,
Portanto, a
by
ideia
far.
temos que colaborar
So
com
the
as
idea is we need to collaborate with the top American universities in fields that are relevant for us at the national level and that they're also interested in, so that we can do science in a different way. And I think there was here an effect of osmosis and learning. What do you mean, doing science in another way? Well, there were PhDs and the way professors giving their classes came to Portugal was entirely different from the ex-cathedra type of classes from your high chair, if possible with some slides, and the pressure on students and you need to study before the class, it's not 15 days after the class and 1 week before the exam. All of this has an impact on how you do science. Yes, but it's not only that. There was later on a big impact because there were companies that were interested, and many of the researchers working on these programs became. A FIDSAI is an example. It's a unicorn.
Dos seus fundadores, mas a ligação a Carnegie Mellon na área
the connection to Carnegie Mellon in the field of information technologies was very important, and it was in Austin with a soft landing program that the first sale was made and they found their first investor. And in the US, someone told FIDSAI that the algorithms that they wanted to apply on energy grids should be applied to find the financial market, insurances, etc. And currently FIDSAI takes care of the algorithms to fight fraud and of the taxes. And this is a Portuguese company. Of course, they also have an American company. So the researchers in the University of Coimbra 20 years ago with the International Partnership Program with an American university and with an entrepreneurism program of another American university, they become a unicorn. And they have most of their market in the US. Well, I could give you many other examples for this, but we don't have time for that. So the impact was with more scientific papers, more than in the scientific papers and scientific projects and the PhDs done in the US, because that has always been done. It was above all the way of teaching, the way of organizing research. And what Americans are definitely ahead of Europe is the capacity to transform science and technology into economic value. And that is crucial. With investment, as Francisco Veloso said, Europe was lagging behind in terms of venture capital. They're also ahead of us. So almost every unicorn in Portugal, we have more than half a dozen. They have American investors, and it was the American investment, not European investment, and they went to the US. We are reaching the end, and I would like to invite you to look more objectively at the future, although we've been doing that so far. Francisco, what is truly at stake for Europe in the coming 5 to 10 years if Europe is not ambitious in making this cooperation between science and business? What is at stake is the competitive capacity of Europe and its own sovereignty, taking into account defense-related matters. This is pivotal. If we look at what is happening in our days, AI, clean energy, digital security, health, science is always the basis, and it's also the speeding up driving force. This needs to be done with the logic that we've been discussing, and that is the economic use. We should not only think about the scientific capacity, but how we transform it into economic value. But if we don't have this technical scientific capacity, we will not be able to create this economic value. So here, there is an extraordinary opportunity and also a need, an opportunity that also exists in other parts of the world. I'm not only talking about the US, where there was less investment in this link. So this is the opportunity Europe has. And like I said, there are 3 levels: more investment in science, and speeding up the 3% target would be ideal. The second aspect is to invest in instruments that will enable fast investments with risk, given the threats that we see. But we're talking about AI, else clean energies. All of these are important areas where this mobilization should happen. And thirdly, I believe it's also very important to significantly change venture capital and make available funds so that we can scale up the commercialization possibilities inherent to the investment. The other aspects that are also important is a different comfort level in Europe, so that we have top international universities. This means changing the instruments to support the universities also at the European level, enabling some universities in the EU to develop and to state their overall competitiveness, their scientific capacity, but also the connection with the economy and the economic value. This is an important aspect. Together with this, there should be more investment in this logic of new technology-based companies. All this, and also the smart revolution that is happening with AI, this will mean a huge growth in the number of entrepreneurial initiatives, because many industries will change radically, and this will be done with new businesses. And it would be extraordinarily important to invest in this in a deliberate, structured way in what concerns financing and also the incentives for universities, and also for the establishing of new businesses, and also very important, and this is interlinked with the previous ones, it would be critical for Europe to give this leap forward. I will beg of you to be brief, but can you give us your answer to the same question, but try to convey, please, a message for decision makers, political decision makers, those that want to invest in science. I would like to say that, like Francisco did, there are 2 parts to this answer. In Portugal and in Europe, we need to take advantage of this opportunity to follow the science-based policy advice and advice in policies in regulated areas such as health, telecom, environment, in order to have a scientific basis, because the interests of those who are regulated and the sophistication of technology lead to some regulators to be kind of lost. So the scientific truth to tell the difference between what is true and what is a lie is important at this level. And this is what is at stake in the US, the evidence-based policy making. People don't want to look at evidence. numbers, scientific truths, and this is very, very important. The other message is there's no dichotomy between spending in research or defense. We should have no prejudice. The radar was invented within the military scope. And even before quantum computing, the ciphers were invented in the Second World War. The Internet was a project that was a military project, although linked to CERN in Switzerland. So, we have big discoveries that result from military investments. DARPA in the US finances research at 5-10 years, fundamental research in mathematics. And I have a colleague in the University of Florida that for the past 20 years has been working in neural networks, very sophisticated mathematics, and it's with military funding. Of course, has this borne fruit? Probably not yet. So I would say that this 2%, 3% of the GDP, or whatever the percentage is for defense part, must be for science and technology. Part must go to labs, science. So if it's something on the short term, and we should include access to the value chain, or on the long term, we will see. But there's no dichotomy, and there can be no dichotomy between investing in defense or investing in research. Maybe, since we don't have more time, maybe this is the world we will have in the future. I would like to thank you both for this debate. Thank you.